ready.
I feel like I'm like in the wilderness with my hunting gear.
You do look like you're hunting.
I'm wearing camo for those who don't watch visual, but if you do, what's up, guys? Hey.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe.
Maybe put a comment.
That would be great. Engage.
We love engagement.
We love
any kind of engagement. If you listen, also, there's more engagement.
It's my phone.
Anyway, the engagement is Apple Podcast review. Okay, so season 2, episode 23, the anti-penultimate,
Yes.
titled Eye of the Beholder, aired March 5th, 2012, written by Joseph Doherty and directed by Melanie Mayron. The liars are on a quest for answers of what Allison knew before she died. Jason drops off a bag of Allison's personal items that could be more than just a bag of junk. Toby returns to Rosewood and brings a surprise reunion that ends dangerously. No.
It wasn't his doing.
Right.
It ended that way. No.
I want to start with Aria
Okay.
and Duncan.
Okay.
Duncan. What is happening?
I would love to know.
I would love to know.
Off mic, I told Liz, good luck this week because I am lost. I felt like this episode was all over the place.
Because it was.
And so to start with Duncan and Aria.
I feel like it's a good place to start because it's like where the most confusing portions are, right?
Yeah.
Or you're just confused like all throughout the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll go through it together. We're here together.
Who is Duncan?
So Duncan was a friend of Vivian's
Okay.
that he met in a bookstore. They tell us this. I don't know if you were typing in the chat or we weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
But they met in a bookstore in or near Brookhaven, near the doll repair shop that we saw last week. And when he saw Aria wearing the coat, he thought that she was Vivian.
Yes.
So Aria plans to meet with Duncan to go over some stuff about Vivian and her history with him. And so when they meet up, he asks her if Aria is her real name because he knows that Vivian wasn't Vivian's real name. And he like quizzes her to tell him what her name was. And she's like, it's Allison. He's like, you got it right.
Yeah, I was like, what's the secret password?
Right. Like to see if they were as true friends to her as he was.
Right.
Even though it's very unclear, their relationship.
Yeah, like how long this has been going on for. We don't know that.
No.
Okay.
We know that they met the summer that she went missing.
Right.
Ish, I think. They don't give us hard dates on that portion.
Mm-hmm.
But we find out that he and Allison would meet up and they would hang out. And so he wondered where Allison was. And Aria's like, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but she's dead.
Yeah, how did he not hear about this?
Right. Well, he's been gone. I think they said he was in Florida for a year. He was somewhere else for a year, so now he's back in town. And I guess didn't know anything that occurred between Alice. I guess he didn't look for her or like wasn't trying to contact her.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were only like first name basis. Like who knows? It's incredibly unclear. It's incredible. No wonder why you're confused because the viewers are also confused. Yeah. Those who've watched many a time.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So he says it's not really safe for us to talk in public, so we'll meet in private because I was with her that weekend she went missing. So she meets him at this airspace.
It's like a hangar.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, I'm a pilot. I fly planes. I have a license. And I would take Allison up in the air with me on a very, very small little aircraft. And so we go to the aircraft. Would you like to show the people?
Yes.
The aircraft photo.
I would.
Here we go. So we have Duncan. We've met Duncan. He's very nice. Got a handsome little sweater situation going on.
He looks like he could be Jason's
Michelle
brother.
said he's like Jason's like little brother.
Yeah, doppelganger, Shelbyville version.
Yeah, I can see that.
Pick your poison.
The girls thought he was handsome too. And Aria's quote is, if we were in another, like, given a different situation, like,
that
she
what
would
she
like
said?
they think he was cute. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This image that we have, if you're watching on YouTube,
Aria
if you're
looks
not and you're curious,
Petrified.
she looks petrified. It's such a zoomed in. It looks like they're in a car.
Yeah. It was hard to find photos of this, to be honest.
I cannot believe, but I can believe that she's just like, yeah, sure. I don't know who you are, but of course I'll go up in an aircraft with you
Mm-hmm.
in a small plane and trust that you are a safe driver. What do you call it? Pilot?
Driver, essentially. He called it the yoke.
The yoke?
Yeah, apparently I was calling it the steering wheel, like the wheel, but he calls it a yoke.
If we get technical.
Yeah.
This whole scenario was crazy. And then he was saying that Allie wanted to feel in control.
Mm-hmm.
And by taking her up in the air, this allowed her to, she could like control the plane.
Basically, like I was gonna say on Earth, on the ground, a lot was happening in her life and she felt like she couldn't control it. And so in the air, she felt powerful and that she could truly be herself or like avoid anyone trying to harm her, get in the way of her life. And so Aria asks him, like, do you think anyone would want to hurt Allie? Do you know of anyone? And what I thought also was just completely CW and unnecessary is that Aria goes, can I ask you something? And he says, was I in love with her? I think I could have been. It's like, no. We didn't need that. We totally didn't need that information. But thanks for giving it up.
Also, we don't know how old
Of course you were
is.
in love with him. In love with her.
We don't know how old he is.
We have no idea how old he is. But Mike in our Discord chat looked it up. You have to be at least 17 to have a pilot's license and at least 18 or 19 to have someone else in the vehicle with you.
Yeah.
So he's got to be around there, if not older.
Right.
Even though to me, like, the actor appears to be looking sort of young, but all the girls look probably around his age, right?
But she was still so young.
Exactly. She was 14.
Yeah. Right.
Ew.
Right.
Why must we do this?
I think also what got me the most is the fact that he's like, Aria, you take the wheel and you can feel the power in your hands.
Right.
And
feel what Allie wanted, what Allie felt. Like, get to know your friend better. And Aria's like, I'm good. And he's like, no, you need to do it. Forces her into doing it. And then forcing her, basically, I think like a test. Like, can you match Allison's like will to be powerful or like,
I
don't know.
I also took this as Aria is feeling empowerment and now it's like she felt something in her, so now she can go and lead her life differently. So I wonder if this is going to tie into the Ezra stuff.
Very interesting takeaway because I did not understand the necessity for this.
Yeah,
this
to
device.
Me, this is like more so for Aria learning about herself versus learning about Allie.
Right. I wish that's what it was, but I think that it was just nothing.
My mic is
It was
on.
just a nothing. It was for just added.
That's it.
Nonsense.
Okay.
And I was reading because I was looking up images to use for tonight's episode.
Mm-hmm.
And when I typed in this, it was like a Bustle or something kind of article where it was like 10 moments that you forgot happened on Pretty Little Liars that just don't make any damn sense. And this was one of them. And I thought that was so funny because I'm like, yes, why are you making her fly the plane? She doesn't want to. She's uncomfortable. And then you're looking at her like good grasshopper. Like, what? I don't get it.
Right. And so I guess also what we can learn from this was he flew Allie from Hilton Head?
Hilton Head to Philadelphia.
Right.
So he saw her the morning that she basically went missing, took her from Hilton Head, who we're assuming she was with Ian at.
That's right.
We assume because, again, we have no details just of yet. And then took her to Philly. So as Aria has now realized, Allie was in Rosewood 6 to 7 hours earlier than they thought when she got off the bus from her grandmother's house in Georgia, which we know she wasn't there.
Right. And so now it's like, what was she doing?
What was she doing that whole morning? Right. So Kat wants to know, do we think this 6 to 7 hours is going to give us any more theories as to, like, does it give you a theory as to who you think killed Allison?
Not me, but I think, yes, this will open up something for the girls.
Yeah, I just think it's such a, to me, an insignificant detail. However, I think now it's like the girls are realizing, okay, so she could have been doing a million different things that day. And we will see, trust me, as the progression of the show, we will see just all the things that Allison could have potentially been doing that day. And it's just like, it's just too much. We're just packing in, piling in so much shit.
Does it make sense? Or it's just like her going about her day, like running errands, getting back in town, not wanting to go home?
No, it's a very... There will be times where you're like, wait, how could she have accomplished all of this in a day?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And then leading up to, obviously, like the moment we see in the pilot where now she's missing. So
right.
Duncan gives her that information. Aria goes back and tells the girls this information. They're like, okay, so I guess now we have to figure out what to do with it. To go back to the Duncan scene, Mike wanted to know if we have any friends that are pilots, or if we could nominate one of our friends to be a pilot. Who would we trust to fly a plane? Don't ask me why, but honestly, John was the first person I thought about.
Didn't John want to take flying lessons?
Yeah, and then someone else we went to high school with didn't Danny just get his...
Oh, I think he was working on it.
Right? Getting his pilot license. Like, I would trust John to fly me.
Yeah, I would trust
Kyle to fly me.
Oh, I would trust Kyle. 100% I would trust
I think
Kyle.
I would pick, no offense, John, I think I would pick Kyle because I know he would know that plane backwards and forwards.
That's right.
And know all the maneuvers and know how to fix it.
Yep.
And be a very safe pilot.
Yeah.
He's a very safe driver, so.
I would trust Kyle too. Good answer.
Yeah. All right, so we have a side story with Aria, her parents, Ezra. So Ella visits Ezra at work and she's like, yeah, I know we had that conversation, but just wanted to I just wanted to let you know, if you're not aware, Aria is like the only person that matters in this scenario. You don't matter at all. And he's like, yeah, I understand that. I realize that. And he understands why Byron would have set him up with this opportunity. And Ella's like, yeah, I don't really agree with it. And he's like, but you want me to leave? And she's like, well, like, it would be easier if you did go. Of course, I don't want to say that, but yes, that's what she was thinking, is it would be a lot easier if Ezra were to go.
Right.
So he's like, I value your opinion. What you think of me does matter, because like they were friends at one point. And he's like, I don't want anyone to get hurt in this situation. And then she just casually is like, yeah, so do you think anyone would want to hurt Aria? It's like,
well, now, she's like in tune to the whole A of it.
Yes, she is.
And she talked to Ashley about it last week. And so I'd give her props to like inquire about A to Ezra.
Yeah. Like, do you know something I don't?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, there might have been someone, but not anymore. So alluding to like Jackie.
Right. Well,
it makes it so cryptic, but it's like, what do you think the hell he means by that?
Yeah, I think Jackie, because she asks him, like, was there anyone who's trying to hurt you?
Mm-hmm.
And I took that as Jackie. And then I asked Liz if Jackie's on the island, and Liz said no.
She's not. But, like...
She might as well be?
I guess, in a way. Like, okay. we bring her in, like, from my memory for really no reason, but that's just me. So then we have Ezra invite Byron to his office and says to him, I wanted to tell you first that I'm not accepting the job in New Orleans, even though you so nicely offered me up for this position. Byron's like, you're an idiot. Basically, like, this is such a great opportunity for you. And Ezra's like, yeah, I know that. But if I took it, I would always wonder why I took it. Like, why did I decide to take this job? Was it because Byron forced him into it?
His heart's not really in it. He doesn't really understand why he's taking it. He doesn't want to. He kind of feels forced to.
Right.
Obligated.
Right. Like, he knows it's a great opportunity, but it wasn't even on his radar.
Right.
And it's It's not like something he's been dying to do for his whole career, which has been less than 6 months, but his whole career he's been wanting to do this. He hasn't mentioned anything. Like, he just started out in his career. The fact that he has this offer is ridiculous, but I digress with that. So Byron's like, I think that you've already messed up my family enough. I really think you're making a mistake. And Ezra says to him, like, I'm not doing it. I'm not that kind of man. That's not who I am. And Byron's like, oh, you're letting your ego get in the way. He's like, oh, whose ego is that? He was really digging into Byron, which I appreciate.
I know, me too. It's like you're standing up for yourself. And Byron's like, how dare you speak to me this way? You've messed up my family.
It's like, no, first of all, you did.
You messed up your family, not Ezra.
They're not any more fucked up than they always were.
No.
It's just a continuation of the situation of Byron and Meredith.
Right, exactly.
So Byron, no. Don't blame Ezra for your own shitty problems. The fact is that we don't like Ezra and Aria together. However, I like when someone's right and they do,
Yeah. Standing up for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm not going to do it because that was what you would want and that's not what I want. So Kate says, what do you think of Ezra pushing back against Byron? Vic adds, did you actually predict him to turn down the job?
Well, I didn't. I thought he was going to go. We were going to create a little distance. And I thought actually he would go and then Aria would visit him.
I wish.
Over the summer and sneak that. And somehow Ella would allow this.
That would have been a little bit more exciting.
But the fact that we end with him calling Aria and be like, Aria, I love you. I love you so much. I feel so empowered. So now I'm kind of bummed because I feel like nothing will really come of this. Unless Aria is too preoccupied and it's like, I don't have time. I don't know. I want distance.
You can't see what this break in the relationship would be. Like,
yeah, well, it's not coming.
Right. I mean, I would hope it would be we have like 7 seasons. Right. So like Ezra and Aria, there's never going to be perfect. There's no perfect scenario. So like they're a couple, they're going to have fights. There's going to be things that are going to come in between them. It's just like, when's it going to actually happen? It's like, they're forcing the hand, but nothing's happening.
Right.
And that's frustrating to me.
It's really frustrating.
Because I'm like, just do it already. Just say you're just going to do it. And so that we can like get on and move on.
Yeah.
But then we have the last scene with Ella and Byron where Byron, admits that, yeah, I did offer him up for this position. I don't understand why you won't think that's a good idea. And I can't believe you talked to Ezra behind my back. And Ella's like, hey, look, this is a very real situation here. We have a very impressionable 16-year-old daughter and her boyfriend who they could very well elope.
Right. We're trying to avoid that.
We're trying to avoid her losing her forever. So they don't really have a resolution there. That's where they end the conversation. But, she's got a point.
Yeah. And now it just feels like teams.
Yeah. Which, like, as parents, you should always be a unit.
Right.
Not good to have sides. So we'll see what happens there. Okay. Over to Spencer. So to get into Spencer, we have to start with who comes back in this episode, which is Toby.
Oh my gosh.
And Jenna. And Jenna is post-operative from having her surgery on one eye because you can only do one eye at a time. There they are.
Yes.
And it's too soon to tell because she can't take the bandages off, but she's hopeful that, she'll have some sight, she'll be able to see, and she can't wait until that moment where she can open her eyes and her room is filled with all the things she loves, including Toby. And all the girls are like, why is Toby helping Jenna? Like, this does not sit well with us. Obviously, we know the things that have happened in the past and how he can never forgive her. And he was free. He was free at last. And now he's helping her out again. And they're very confused.
It almost seems like he's in a trance or something.
Right. Like he's been put on a spell or he's been drugged. Like something that just does not make any sense why Toby would go back and want to be helpful to his stepsister that he does not care for.
Right.
Yeah. So Spencer says, hey, you're home. Where were you? I hope you were okay. And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. She's like, I have to just make a comment here. Like, why? What are you doing? What are you doing with Jenna? And he's like, it's really none of your business. And she's like, yeah, well, I've been thinking a lot about us. He's like, well, that's good because, oh, well, like, of course you have, but I have to move on.
And he has to keep his wall up. He doesn't
He
want to
absolutely
get hurt
has
again.
to.
I just, this whole thing, and I understand it's for TV and it's for our episode and it's for our show and it's for our story, but not once do we see Toby or Jenna's parents. And I know we joke like teen dramas, there's no parents, but no, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Because the other parents come to the hospital.
For sure.
The other parents are involved in this episode. Your daughter just had like major surgery. Your daughter ends up, which we'll get to in the hospital later, no parent. So to me, it's like, okay, Toby could have been forced to help Jenna in school because you're the
parents
stepbrother.
were not there. Yeah.
Right. And you go to the same school. So I need you to step up. And that very well may be the case. And Toby's just putting up a front to Spencer. But like, how do we not see any parent? Even when they're talking to the fire department, no parent.
I know. They're like very.
What the hell?
Like the only adults. Like they're teenagers that have to be adults because there is no parental figures around.
So weird.
Yeah. I mean, we eventually will see some, but I don't know when the hell that is.
Even if we were to visually see parents, do we actually get conversation with them? Do we actually meet them?
I honestly don't remember. I don't remember.
Like, it would have just been even more believable if we had a parent in the background. They don't have to say anything.
Right.
Just like,
oh, my dad's over there.
Yes,
That's it.
make it seem like there is a parent present.
Yeah.
This does not, that I can't get past this. And I know I should because then we're in deep troubles here, right? Yeah.
No, I get it. I totally get it. And it's unbelievable.
It's very unbelievable.
That your 16-year-old daughter would have major eye surgery and there be no parents around.
And she ends up in the hospital again and no parent.
Right.
But the other kids' parents show up.
Mm-hmm.
So there are parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I just didn't have the time nor the funds nor the energy. I don't know.
Yeah.
So later, the girls witness Toby and Jenna talking to like a fire marshal. No, fire marshal's like on a plane, right? I guess
it looked like they said like the fire department.
The fire department. Basically, don't ask me where the hell this comes in. Because if you're outside Jenna and Toby's house talking to the firemen, how the hell do we get from that to Jason's house? And A does text something about, a fire or it's heating up or something to allude to the fact that Jenna and Toby are telling the fire department about the fire that blinded Jenna.
Right.
But we never go back to, obviously we will go back to it. But in this episode, what does that have to do with the rest of the episode? It was so random to me.
Yeah, it almost made it seem like they were going to reopen or kind of investigate.
Right. Or what I was thinking too, like maybe for insurance purposes.
I was just going to say that.
Like she had to physically prove that she was blinded and what the accident was.
That's what I was
for her
thinking.
Insurance to cover her surgery, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of. And again, 2 children telling the fire department about the thing that happened to her.
The parents should be present. This is a huge deal. Like, your daughter was blinded.
Yeah. I know. It's just
fire.
I was just
whatever.
This is the 3rd time me watching it and I'm still like, I don't get where this is going. Like where are we plugging this in? But the girls are freaked out because they think that Toby is telling them about who blinded Jenna. And Spencer's like, of course he would say it because I, screwed him over, basically. Like I hurt him so deeply that he would throw me under the bus.
Right.
And then they get that text from A. So then later on, after the fire, which don't worry, we will get to, Jenna, I'm sorry, not after the fire. This is before the fire with this scene that we have right behind us where Jenna and Toby are in the hospital and Jenna, I guess, is waiting to maybe like see what's happening under her bandages. Like we don't really get why they're at the hospital. Yeah. But Ren is there naturally because he's the only freaking doctor that works there.
He also works in every department.
He works in every department. Mm-hmm. And so Jenna meets him for the first time and they have this like really ridiculous, chest puffed out, like, does Spencer know you're home? And he's like, yeah, I do. Like, she does. And then he's like, good. Did you get physical therapy for your arm? He's like, yeah, I did. It's like, what? And then he walks away and Jenna's like, oh, that was Spencer's personal doctor. Like, his accent's so sexy. Basically, like, anything sounds good. A lie would sound good coming out of his mouth.
Right.
And Toby's like, ugh, of course you would say that.
Mm-hmm.
Then Spencer is at the hospital later after this fire, and we have a moment between Ren and Spencer, and he says to her, like, hey, you have this complicated life. She's like, yeah, I know. We keep bumping into each other because my life is a mess. And so he's like, wait, does that mean like you regret what happened between us? Which again, it's just a kiss. But she's like, no, of course not. I don't regret it.
What was his whole deal asking, do you think we should make a pact and forget it? Forget everything
that means,
that
did
happened.
you want to forget it? And she's like, no. And he like
us.
looks happy that she doesn't want to forget it, but also like, you probably should just forget it.
Yeah, and it also makes it seem like you're giving him hope.
Right. But maybe she is. Like, maybe to her, she's like, hey, I could see where this is going with him.
Because she kind of, like...
She gave him hope last week.
She lit up a little bit. Like,
she did.
Oh, maybe there is something here. There's something here with Toby.
Mm-hmm.
There's always Ren.
Right. Like, Ren is, like, her fallback guy.
Always.
It
seems.
He's just there to pick her up when the pieces fall apart. She loves Toby, and Toby, they loved each other.
Yeah.
And so at that age especially, you don't get over it easily. And so she's, however many weeks or months it's been since Toby's been gone, she's put the Band-Aid on her heart. But then there's Ren, who's just like, yeah, I'm just like, comfort it. And she's like, that's cool. But I don't think he's not like her forever person.
No.
I mean, I really would hope not.
No.
Imagine Spencer and Ren are endgame, and I would literally flip a table. I would flip a table.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know they're not endgame.
I'm figuring. I mean, you've seen the show. Do you remember everybody's endgame?
Yeah, I think for the most part I do.
Okay.
Like our core 4, core 5, course, however many cores, I remember theirs. All of, like, the liars, I remember their endgames.
Okay, so Spencer and Ren are not endgame.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a spoiler. Like, I'm not upset about that.
I don't think you would assume that would happen, right?
No.
I'm just going to tell you it right here because
no.
This whole relationship or lack thereof is just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have no words,
mm-hmm.
truly.
Mm-hmm.
Vic wants to know, will Toby ever forgive Spencer, however?
Yeah. I mean, Toby...
Do you think Spoby is endgame?
No. Unfortunately, I don't. I wish, but I don't. It's too soon.
Way too soon to tell.
So
way too soon.
You know, because, like, selfishly, I'm like, hey, love. And then it's like, Aria and Ezra. I'm like, how many endgames do we have from the beginning?
Right. It would be a lot.
It would be a lot. And, like, statistically, that's not... Although, I'm, like, thinking about our other children in our network, our other shows.
I mean, we had a few that were from the beginning.
We really did. So I'm eating my words right now.
Yeah, we will see. And I won't force you into
Thank you.
anything else.
But I do think he will forgive her. I'm very curious of what Toby is up to because Toby's playing his own game.
Yeah, Michelle thinks he's playing a little game.
I do.
It seems that way because he's so mean. But again, it's like, well, he's hurting.
He is hurting, but he has that interesting conversation with Mona when they're scheming. And I just, from that exchange, I just think, him and Hannah, I should say. Mona was part of the setup, but
yeah,
it's just the way he phrased it of like, I am also trying to figure things out.
Right.
So I'm just taking that as he will forgive Spencer and he's just working on something.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the side story with Spencer is the Jason and Veronica stuff. And so Jason and Spencer have been chatting a bunch because in this episode, Jason tells the girls that Maya has left a bag of Allison's old things that they forgot. They didn't realize they packed it with their stuff. And I think that's probably why they met at the organic fruit section. she was telling him, hey, I have something of your sister's. It's not confirmed, but I think you're to assume that that's what their conversation was about.
Love it. That makes sense to me.
Right. Thank you, show, for at least making something make sense.
Well, no, it's not confirmed. Thank you
Well,
for bringing that to the
I brought it full circle.
forefront.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Spencer and Jason, they talk about the bag. He brings this bag over to the house, and at this point Veronica's like, what the hell is he doing here? And Jason leaves, and she's like, what's wrong with you, Spencer? Did he invite himself here? Did you invite him? She's like, no, he is my brother, and he was helping me out, and I'm trying to fix what is broken. You and Dad just are like in La La Land, want to forget everything that's happened, but like I can't do that. So Spencer then tells her mother that she knows that Allison had $15,000 and thought that Peter had paid her some blackmail money, and Veronica's interested to hear what she has to say. She's like, wait a minute. I actually told him to hire this private investigator. And, you know, she's like, oh, the dealer and his family just make spectacles. They like to blow things up, which I thought was interesting that they use that term, blow things up. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, like third time around, I was like, oh, that dialogue was interesting. Use of that term, blow things up. Yeah. So later at the hospital, Jason is there to make sure like all parties that were at his house are doing okay. And he talks to Aria for a brief moment, but then he sees Veronica sitting by herself because she comes, I guess, to check on Spencer, and he makes his way over there, and we don't hear the conversation, but Spencer witnesses the two of them potentially having some like connecting conversation. So like there's some hope there, I hope. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we have Hannah, who she doesn't have a phone, but Mona gives her a phone. It's
6 months old.
It's so old, 6 months old. But it must be nice for Hannah not to be receiving A text messages. I have to just say, I'm sure A will figure out a way to get her phone number, right?
Yeah, A will get in there.
Yeah. So because Hannah was defiant, now she doesn't have a phone. So like I said, Mona gives her one, and then she feels like she needs to help out Toby and Spencer in this episode. Mostly Toby. She's like, I don't understand what Toby is thinking.
Yeah, but
he's helping out Jenna.
She does stick up for Spencer and say she's still hurting.
Absolutely.
And she notices her friend down and wants to help. So.
And Mona even says, like, makes comments about how they don't like Jenna because Jenna stole Noel from her.
Right.
So she's like, yeah, okay, well, Jenna's in town. Well, Spencer's good to get out of that situation. And that's when Hannah's like, no, she is hurting and we should make things right. So Mona sets up this plan to tell Toby her cousin's in need of his truck. And he tries to like sell it to her, and she's like, oh wait, haha, just kidding. And Hannah comes in, and Toby's pissed because he's like, no, I don't want to get myself in this situation. And Hannah's like, what are you thinking, hanging out again with Jenna? Like, we know the history. And he's like, yeah, do you remember your history with her? Mm-hmm. Like, shut up about I don't like he said shut up about my sister.
Yeah, but this is the conversation where he's like, I'm also working on something.
Right. And she's like, I realize that. I don't know what that is.
Right.
But I realize that.
So there's like a big...
Right. He has his own motives for doing what he's doing.
He's working on something. He has a plan.
I think he just, in my opinion, realized like, I know my stepsister is shady AF.
Yeah. And
she, at one point, was a high suspect on Spencer's list of who was tormenting her.
Right.
And was like, I'm going to watch you closely, girl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what it seems like at this point, you know, like he's not helping Jenna out because of the goodness of his heart. He's like, no, she needs me and I need her for something. And
Right. And also if we just tied in the parents are making me do this, but that's clearly not.
That would have been
that makes sense.
An easy way out for them.
I know.
But they didn't.
Right.
Yeah. So later Hannah heads to pick up this bag on the porch, which we'll get to. This bag that the stuff is inside, and Spencer's like, you need to go back on the porch because we need to figure out what else is inside the bag. And so when Hannah goes to Jason's house to retrieve this bag, that you can see, for at least for me watching now for the third time, you can see that it's all hazy inside his house.
Yes.
And one of the back windows, it looks like there's a flame like a flickered flame, but Hannah doesn't realize anything's kind of happening, and she hears something inside, so she looks in and realizes that there's smoke, and then Jenna's like like smears her hand down the condensation. Yeah, it's creepy. It's definitely creepy because she has no sunglasses on. You just see her with the eye patch, and it's just scary. Like she doesn't know what the hell's happening. So Hannah drags her out, and then Spencer runs because she realized, I guess, like Hannah probably shouldn't have went to Jason's house alone. So they help her out, and then the house like blows up. The whole front downstairs just blows up. So Michelle's like, I don't understand what happened. I don't understand. Jenna, it was in Jason's house.
Right. Got that. Why isn't Jason more upset? Jason's entire first floor of his house got blown up. He's like, I was halfway to Scranton.
Yeah, he's like,
until the police called me.
My life is so messed up, man.
Is he just numb to it all?
I think he is. He's like I think he's just like, my family is bad luck. I think that's really what he thinks.
I would be pretty upset.
Poor guy.
I'd be like distraught.
Yeah, I think he's just like, obviously, is everyone okay? And also like, damn, I don't know the damage until they inspect it. In the chat, Vic was like, oh my God, he should go move in with Spencer. I was like, wouldn't that be amazing?
Right.
Like Veronica would ever let that happen.
Yeah.
Or Peter.
Also, he's just like not even more concerned that like someone was in his house. Why Jenna was in his house. Like, we're just not really reacting at all.
I know.
I'd be freaked out.
I know.
Someone was in my house. Someone set an explosion. And the first floor of my house is destroyed. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I was halfway to Scranton.
Right. Right. Does that make you think he's suspicious then?
A little bit, yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
It really does.
Yeah.
I don't think he did it, but it makes him suspicious.
Right. Well, he says, I didn't tell her to come. I didn't text her. Yeah. So Jenna awakes at the hospital. Toby's there. She's like, what happened? Was there a fire? Who dragged me out to Jason? And he's like, no, Hannah Marin did.
Hannah Marin.
And so then Toby sees Spencer and the other girls, and he's like, I need you to come in there. Jenna wants to talk to you guys. And they're like, great. So Jenna's like, I know someone texted me to come to Jason's house. And then Emily's like, yeah, of course you're going to blame us. She's like, no, I don't actually blame you. And she's like, Hannah, why did you pull me out? Like, we don't have a good history, clearly. Like, Hannah, out of all people, really doesn't have a good history with her. Mm-hmm. And Hannah's like, you're welcome. Like, I don't want to get into this. You're welcome. You're a bitch. I'm a bitch, whatever.
Right.
And, she's abrasive and she leaves. She's like, that's it. So Mike says, well, what will come out of the investigation of Jason's house? Kat adds, are now things square between Jenna and the girls?
I don't know if everything's square, but as we see at the end, somehow Garrett's going to be framed for this. Or it's like Garrett was like seeking revenge because him and Jenna ended poorly. Also, this is him like, I'm off the force. There's a lot that
Oh, so you think Garrett left his badge at Jason's?
No. I'm just like, that could just be like a tie-in. I think someone's framing him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it also could make it seem like Garrett is very petty because he seems like it and he was in love with Jenna.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, F you, Jenna. I'm going to frame this on Jason, but then Garrett's badged.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. This is fucking weird. It's just weird. This episode's weird.
I know. It's really all over the place, and I feel like my notes are all over the place, too. Lastly, we have to talk about Emily, and we have a resurface of Maya via text in this episode. And she tells Emily, look, I'm okay. Don't tell my parents you heard from me. Basically, that's it. So Emily talks to Spencer and mentions that she doesn't know if she should tell Maya's parents about this and how heartbroken her parents would be if they knew that their daughter went across the country, didn't say anything to them, or they think she's missing, basically, at this point. And so then this is when Jason comes in and he gives them the bag talking about how Maya left this. And then Emily's like, wait, when did you see her? And he's like, I don't know, the bag was on the porch. So the girls go through this bag and everything's wrapped in newspaper. And so they look in this jewelry box with trinkets and things of Allison's in there. And the girls think that it's pretty much a dead end. There's nothing in there, no clues. And then Hannah sees a magazine of newspaper of Michelle Obama from 2009. And Spencer's like, wait a minute, the newspaper itself is a clue. So this is what the point where Hannah goes back to get the bag and the explosion happens. But end up getting the bag and they're going through all the newspaper. And on it is highlighted different events in town.
Yeah.
And then the last one being this concert on the weekend that Allison went missing.
It's
so
like
basically,
circled.
yeah,
big red circle.
Exactly. So they're like, oh, this must mean something or be something to Allison. And, that's it with that. But then we do see Emily receive an email from Maya. And in this email, Emily why did Shay have to read this email to herself?
They couldn't get the act. They couldn't
We
get
could
Bianca.
not get Bianca to read this email.
Bianca's,
I hated this. Was so
I
cringy
hated
to me.
this too. I would have been better if Bianca read it.
Right. Or if I don't even know.
Maybe.
Or if Emily just read it out loud. Why do we have to read it in our head?
Yeah.
It was just not necessary.
I agree.
It made it really, really extremely corny.
Or maybe we didn't even need to hear it.
Or we needed to hear it. It could have just been email. Yeah. Maya emailed me, she basically told me she can't sit still. Emily's always still, basically. And she loves her and she wishes she never came back to town because the way they ended things the first time was perfect, which I'm like, no, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
What are you talking about? But okay, you're a delulu about that. And then, basically again, don't tell my parents. But then Emily calls the parents because she's like, I can't hold this in anymore.
So is this the last of Maya? No.
No, I don't know.
Because we're going to get more, maybe.
Yeah, you'll see. You'll see.
Because this...
I really don't know how to explain it with you
fine.
without ruining what the plot is.
No problem. Because this would have been just we're done with her.
Right. It would have been.
But yeah. I guess there's a bigger picture happening with her. Maybe.
Yeah.
Unless she's still dead. Hey.
Still dead. Mm-hmm.
Or she gets
Or
killed.
she gets dead.
She gets dead. No, I don't want to wish that.
No.
I just can't believe I don't know why I felt that so hard.
So strongly.
Yeah. Ooh. Sorry.
Well, your heart wants what it wants.
No, I don't want her dead. I was just really, I don't know. I just felt it. I truly felt it.
No, okay. Well, you've been right about things and you've been wrong about things.
That's true. Okay. Yeah. Moving on.
The Mike had added to that. Do you still think Maya said so? I guess you still do. They maybe think she said.
Not yet, maybe.
Oh, not yet. Okay. Oh, okay. So she will eventually die, but not yet.
It'd be weird if she was dead and these was a fake email. And then that really screws with Emily's heart and head. That's sick.
Yeah.
That's really sick. And I guess that could be I wouldn't be surprised if that's it. But sure, I'll stick with I still think Maya's gonna die or is dead.
Okay. And then our last scene is stepping through all of the wreckage at Jason's house and then plants a police badge in the dirt. And from your glance, you don't know who it is, but on the wiki and other pages, people were saying that was Garrett's badge.
And I'm assuming next week,
right? We'll talk about a little bit more about the badge situation. So no, it's not yeah. So Britt says Garrett's speeding away from Jenna's house, the fire at Jason's, planted police badge. Is this connected? Do we think that Garrett started the fire or that knows so they're planting this badge?
I think A is planting the badge. It would be really disgusting if Garrett set this up to get back at Jenna.
Right, because Emily's Jenna was supposed to die in that fire.
Yeah, that is the most eerie statement of the episode. Right. Of she was supposed to die.
Right, so you don't think Jenna has anything to do with this? Because it would be a little difficult for her.
It would be really difficult. And how
to have staged this somehow, right?
Right. And would someone be there to catch her at the right time? Jenna's gonna agree.
She wouldn't have known that anyone could have possibly been there. So it really seems like this has nothing to do with Jenna and everything to do with trying to harm Jenna.
Yeah. Because I did think about that. I was like, oh,
Right.
Jenna kind of facilitated all this. But I was like, that would be like insane. Like,
It'd be hard to do. And she tells Toby, like, you weren't around, so I took a cab. Because she can't drive.
right.
I took a cab there.
Why would you go in such a hurry to go talk to Jason?
Right. Like, what could Jason have possibly wanted to talk to you about? And we know she has her own personal Jason thing, right? Like, Jason and Jenna and Garrett made Jason think he was the killer of Allison. Right?
Right.
And
And
like, wait, we talked about this earlier.
the NAT club too.
Right. So maybe Jenna thought that Jason wanted to talk about past events or Allison or something. But Jason's not there. I think she said she just walks in because the door was open.
Again, why? Unless in the text it was like, just walk in, the door's unlocked.
Something's not right. But it doesn't seem like Jenna did this to herself.
It doesn't.
But something's definitely not right.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll be back very shortly. Okay, so we'll start with some ice cream and then maybe we'll give you a little teaser to what's happening for our summer plans. So our Lucky Leon's ladle this week is carrot cake and cream cheese gelato.
Whoa.
By Righteous. Never heard of this
Righteous?
brand. Must be Canadian.
I love carrot cake. Do you like carrot cake?
It's not my fave.
Oh, it's like my fave.
It has to be extremely good.
Oh,
For me to want to
like
eat.
A given.
Obviously, no, but like there's people who are just like will eat like anything carrot cake flavor. Like I don't particularly go for those kind of spices normally. As I'm older though, I do appreciate a little nutmeg, a little allspice situation.
I love it.
But I never did growing up. Like I also just don't like cake.
Right. Okay.
You know, I'm an ice cream cheesecake kind of gal.
So this sounds
So
up your alley.
that's true because it's gelato. So I think I would definitely try this.
Yeah.
Okay, so this decadent gelato is made with gluten-free carrot cake chunks folded into cream cheese base with cinnamon and nutmeg to create the perfect balance. This gelato is a fun twist on a traditional dessert and truly tastes like you're eating a slice of cake. Carrots contain vitamin A, which, as everyone knows, is important for proper vision, which is an important theme in the episode. For first, there's Jenna's surgery. Will she be able to see again? We will have to wait and see. But in the meantime, maybe she should increase her carrot consumption just in case. Hannah being about to spot out the highlighting in the newspaper after she saw that Michelle Obama was wearing the same outfit as 2 years ago. The perfect balance of the ingredients represent Veronica and how she is trying to balance her feelings towards her family and her feelings towards Jason, which Spencer sees some progress when Jason went to talk to Veronica in the hospital. I give this episode 3 melted scoops out of 5. The fire really heated it up.
Cute.
Very cute.
Very cute.
And that does sound very good.
Yeah, it sounds delicious.
Yeah. Okay, so an MVP and shittiest.
Yeah. You ready?
I still want that one. Hold on, you got. I'm just gonna go with this. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Ella.
Ezra.
Wow, you gave it to Ezra.
I did. You know what? You stood up for yourself. You're not going to take shit from Byron Barron. And I have to give you that. Props for that. So I believe he gets
I thought
MVP.
about it for a second. I did think about it.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, that's right. But Ella, I gave to her for just being like, hey, my daughter's the only one that matters.
Yes.
And Byron, stop acting like a little baby.
Yeah.
We need to figure things out.
Mm-hmm.
Shittiest.
I don't really have a shittiest.
I'm going to give mine to Duncan, honestly. Don't force someone to do something they don't want to do.
I already forgot about Duncan. Is he on the island?
I don't think so.
Okay. Also,
I don't know.
if you're new to the show and you're confused
About the island?
about the island, that is a long-running
Joke
bit. It's not really a bit, though.
It's not a bit. It's just like something we've solidified is a thing in a Total Betty podcast and has stayed for years.
Right. And so what we mean by that is if a character is done, if their arc is finished on one of our shows, do they go to the deserted island?
Right.
And it's the Total Betty deserted island. So that's what
Right.
that meant. Because we get that question sometimes because we are so used to using that
Yeah, we do.
in our verbiage and
Exactly.
phrasing. And we're like, oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, we've had people be like, wait, what do you
What's
mean by the island?
Yeah. The deserted Total Betty island.
Yeah,
Okay, so
all
we
the
don't
characters.
know. He might make a
I
comeback.
didn't look
Okay, that's fine.
to see.
I was just curious.
I want to assume that he is, but I honestly do not know
Yeah, okay.
if he is.
All right. Yeah, Duncan's shit. So I did not get good vibes
No good vibes
from him.
He did seem heartbroken to know Allie was dead,
Yes.
but
Besides that,
I didn't like the controlling aspect.
no,
of
I didn't
it.
like that either.
Should we tease a little more into what our podcast will be for the summer?
Yeah, Liz, why don't you tell them what's happening?
I just
a little format,
I
maybe?
think the format is just it's going to be 7 released episodes.
Ooh.
I won't tell you when
We're not going to tell you what it's on.
or what it's on, but it's Pretty Little Liars content.
Mhm.
And so if you are interested in Pretty Little Liars content, maybe head over to our Patreon because that's where this special podcast will be.
Yep. Stay tuned. More to come.
More to come.
Breadcrumbs, right?
Yes.
Just like this episode.
Just like this show, we were giving you breadcrumbs.
Might mean nothing to you, but it will mean something at some point.
Exactly. I'm going to give this maybe a 5 out of 10 for cringe. Like a halfway. Like the Duncan airplane scene killed me.
That didn't really cringe me, though.
Really? I was like, oh, please stop this. Like, why did we have to be in an aircraft? We did not have to be there. We could have had this conversation in a car.
Yeah. Well, we spiced it
Or
up
wherever. And then Emily reading the Emily reading the email in her head.
Yeah, I hated that.
I hated that.
I didn't like Jenna grabbing Toby's hand. Like, I want all the things I like when I open my eyes in my room so I can see them and you'll be there. I didn't love that.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're to the end of the episode where I'm going to give you the title and you're going to make some predictions. So episode 24, the penultimate, right before the finale. Oh my goodness. It's titled If These Dolls Could Talk. I know. Michelle is not keen on doll things.
No, I'm not.
And I'll tell you, this episode is scary. Not in a way where, there's lots of dolls.
Okay.
And my secret is that the Montgomerys ponder over an application for boarding school for Aria.
Whoa.
Bye, girl.
Oh, so they're taking it into their own hands.
Right. They're like, well, if Ezra doesn't leave,
Then we'll get rid of Aria.
yeah. So what do you think is going to happen in next week's episode
I think
between
this-
Azaria?
Yeah, I think this is going to be an argument. I think Aria will run away from home and she'll end up, staying with Ezra. And Ella will be like, this is exactly why I didn't want to do this. And her and Byron will get into a fight. As she said, they invented mixed signals. So I think this is actually going to put a wrench in their marriage. So back another wrench.
Yeah.
And so this is the penultimate, huh? I think
This
we're
is the
gonna talk about that badge. And I think Garrett is missing.
missing.
Yeah, I think he's AWOL.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, it's a good penultimate.
I'm excited.
It's good.
They usually are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, usually.
Yeah.
There are some scenes that I will forever remember.
In next week's episode?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we shall see.
Okay, cool.
And last but not least, I do have an email from A.
Yes. Okay.
This is bonjour.
Oh.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Hey, bitches. Glad you got the message on time. The internet there was spotty. Oh, isn't Jose sweet? I miss him. Well, I also miss the heat, the sights, and the drinks. I'd rather be there than being huddled by this fireplace and drinking chocolat. Is that how you say it? Anyway, that's as much French as you're going to get. While my French may not be as great, it's better than your translation app. What the hell is 220? And I don't think he meant hugs. I'm going to go relax now, dump this, and have a Dos Equis in honor of Jose instead. It was his favorite beer. What? 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 When did Jose become A? What is happening?
This is so weird.
Just like this episode, this email is like, what? Where did we place this email in the rest of the A emails? What happened, A? What happened? Are you okay? Are you okay?
This is so weird.
Am I supposed to be reading into Jose? Is Jose obviously we're supposed to be reading into is Jose and if you scramble it, does it mean something?
Oh. I thought it was amusing. So this past weekend, Liz and I went into the city and we hung out with 3 of our Bettys.
Yeah.
And which was so fun to meet up with them, and we love them so much, and the 3 of them have become friends because of our network.
So cute.
Through our network and our community. Very special. But we talked about this whole A element because one of them was Mike, who sends in the ice cream every week. And Tish and Jillian, I was talking to them about this.
Oh, I don't know any of this.
Yeah. Oh, because you were on the other side of the table.
Okay, give me the tea.
And so Jillian's like, and I said, we think it's Mike. We also think it's a group effort.
A collective, yeah.
A collective. And Jillian's like, oh, well, she's like, I don't watch the show. I'm actually not partaking in this.
Yeah, I figured that as much.
It doesn't mean she's not part of it.
No, it doesn't.
And then Tish is like, I also have not. It's just not my thing. But I was like, I still think they are a part of it.
Oh.
With Mike. Yeah. And so I say this all because last season we found out our A on finale night. Mm-hmm. And it was Kate.
Yeah.
And this whole season we've had a new A, and we have thought it was a collaborative affair. I am so curious if on finale night in 2 weeks, if we're going to find out who the season's A is, or will this just keep going because it is a group effort? And it's...
I think in my opinion, not that I want this to happen or what, I'm up for whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like someone will reveal themselves, but it will continue.
I agree. And I think that it's still going to be a group effort. And that one person will just volunteer as tribute every season.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I feel like someone will give up.
Yeah.
Maybe whoever did the most. Or maybe it's one person that is typing the emails, but like people are giving ideas or sending in their drafts and like one person. Because I told you it's the same IP address every time.
I know. This one is so weird. And the only reason is like the traveling is like Mike was traveling.
But like back. They're very specific on like
Jose
going somewhere, Jose, Dos Equis, like something Spanish.
Well, it follows up because last time they sent
a Spanish email.
They were traveling.
Right. And before that they had said Italian, right? They said bonita or something like that. I forgot what they said.
They were drinking flat white. And I was like, it's cat.
White.
Because cat, yeah. This is it's like beverages are involved.
Yeah. And like the XX wasn't hugs and it wasn't 20. What does it mean then? What's XX?
Huh. I feel like, Liz, not to make you crazy, but you need to put all our clues up on this board.
I'll do it for next week because hopefully on finale night we'll have some sort of reveal.
Yeah. And I want to visually, again, if you watch us on YouTube, we put up visuals. I want to see this all laid out, and maybe we could figure it out. That's a lot of work
because
for you.
I looked at the emails all together, grouped up, like
you did.
How Kate told me to do last season, but I didn't. And like to me, I don't see a pattern except there was a one time you said chapter 1. But then you didn't add. Maybe your book is not finished, right? You don't want to give you the next chapter. Unless chapter 2 is coming soon or maybe in next season or something.
And it is weird. One of the A emails or a couple have come through Total Betty and not We Are Liars.
I think it was only one.
The flat white one. It's still in our inbox.
Yes.
So is that a mistake?
I don't know. Oh, I don't know. But it's fun.
It's so fun.
Whatever, it's
we
fun.
love it. We love it. We love it. We love it.
Yeah. So we will return next week for the penultimate episode. If these dolls could talk. Doll heavy. And can't wait to see you there. Can't wait to see you there, Michelle.
Yes. Can't wait.